We got a bidet. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are trying something out new. We are doing a Star Wars news discussion. We are trying to do these every other week. That way we have a decent amount of stuff to talk about. So if we talk about something that happened last week, well, we're going to talk about it this week. So yeah, typically we'll probably have Tony along with us. If you guys probably recognize him from the Book of Boba Fett discussions and a handful of Mandalorian discussions. But today we got myself and we got Sarah, and we're delivering the Star Wars news for you. So some really cool stuff that happened within the last 2 weeks. So let's go ahead and kick it off with probably one of my favorite things that was announced this week. And it has to do with Kenobi, the new show. So we know that Kenobi is coming out on May 25th, which is the, 45th anniversary? Yes, 45th anniversary of the original film. And the news that came out about the show is that John Williams is actually conducting one of the themes of the show. So,
I heard that.
Yeah, so typically, as of late with these TV shows, at least for the live action ones, Ludwig something, I don't know his last name, probably because I can't pronounce it. He's been responsible for all the live action stuff, which he probably is going to have a handful of the Kenobi stuff. But now we get John Williams, we get the legend himself actually being a part of this show, which makes me think that they care more about this show.
Do you think it has anything to do with him being a more classic character? Like he's a character from the originals, unlike Mando. I guess Boba is kind of, but
Are you talking about Kenobi?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about John Williams. I was like, well, yeah, I guess he is kind of classic. He's been around a while. It could be. Boba and Mando, definitely Mando because he was new.
And Bad Batch, they're not from the classic series either.
Yeah, so maybe it's trying to like set the tone, kind of like I said. I think they care more about this show. They care about all their shows, of course, because they want to make money. But I think they are trying to really nail this one, especially since they've got the original people back. Not to mention the other big rumor that dropped lately is that Ian McDiarmid, which is the Emperor, could be showing up in this show. So we could be seeing all these characters from the original films coming back into this show. So we could have some serious good stuff coming up. A lot of the recent stuff has been kind of hit or miss for everybody. So I don't know. I'm excited for it.
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it would be great to see them all. Disney's probably like, hey, yo, you want to like just do Star Wars the rest of your career? Because we'll pay your bills, kind of a thing. So I can imagine that's kind of how that's going. So that has to do with some TV show type news. Moving into books, which this one I actually just saw today. There is a new Obi-Wan Kenobi book coming out called Padawan, I believe, where it has to deal with when he was a Padawan. So it's probably going to be like pre the Phantom Menace moving forward. Not much information about that book yet, but the main book that I wanted to talk about for this news segment is that they're actually going to be making Han Solo and Leia's wedding a thing. It's like they're actually going to canonize it into book form. It'll be the first time that Disney has done this. I'm pretty sure they probably did it in the past with Legends, but the book is going to be called The Princess and the Scoundrel. So it's going to be probably an interesting like romance type Star Wars book. I'm curious to hear about it myself. It seems like a very, very different type of book for the universe. and I think it'll be great.
You know what would be really cool is like they've done the holiday specials, if we got a little special of the wedding. Because you don't
Yep.
need you don't need a whole movie for it. But if we got like an hour special or like a 45-minute special of wedding planning and stuff, I don't know. I'm almost picturing like the Lego form because
Yeah.
the scoundrel and the sass level, and it just sounds better and better the more I say it, at least in my head.
I'm telling you right now, if Itchy, Lumpy, Mala, and all them don't get an invite to this wedding, we will riot.
Yes.
They deserve an invite to this wedding because it definitely happened after the holiday special, so they better be mentioned.
Lumpy better be the ring bearer.
Yes,
I'm just saying. Who else would be the ring bearer?
R2 is my guess, but
He can be an usher.
yeah, he'll zap people if they get out of line. Moving along, we have another news story that was referenced to Leia. We were told that I can't remember if it was a book that's coming out that was concept art, but there was concept art that was shown from the Rise of Skywalker of an alternate death scene for Leia where she was actually on a ship. So that was pretty interesting. It could have been a completely different dynamic there. She was at the base when she actually died in the film. And with this concept art coming out, we could have had a totally different perspective of her death. And it makes me wonder if, because all of Carrie Fisher's film for Rise of Skywalker was recycled stuff from episode 7 and 8, and then just basically digitized and, painted in the backgrounds kind of a thing. Because like when Daisy Ridley had to act with Leia, she basically talked to herself because she was acting as if she was responding to these formerly filmed clips kind of a thing. And it makes me wonder if it would have been a clip from The Last Jedi, because she was on the ship for The Last Jedi quite a bit. And we remember when she floated, back to the ship, she was in the med bay for quite a while. So it makes me wonder if that would have been what that scene could have actually looked like. Do you think it would have been much of a difference?
Which particular scene? Or do you just mean all of them?
The difference between her death on the ship as opposed to her death at the base. Do you think it would have had a different dynamic?
I don't know. I feel like it would have made more sense. Okay, I have a big problem with her Mary poppying her way. Is that how you say? I don't know. I'm rolling with it.
I'm gonna roll it.
The way that she got out of space. So to me, it would have made more sense if she died out in space, which I guess could have been on the ship, perhaps. Like if somebody was able to bring her back to the ship.
Well, it would have been an alternate scene for Rise of Skywalker. So it wouldn't. I was wondering if they had possibly filmed like when she was in her coma in episode 8 and then used that as her death instead. I don't think they would have killed her off in 8. I do agree that she should have died from that, but I don't think they would have done that.
I guess story-wise, I don't really have enough base knowledge of that trilogy to be able to say one way or another if it would have made a huge difference or not.
Yeah, I don't know. It could probably go a couple different ways. It would have depended on how they handled everything else, because that whole movie, the rebels were on that base. They didn't really do a whole lot until the very end. So
I think at least in terms of crowd pleasing, her dying on the ship versus dying at the base probably would not have made a big difference for crowd pleasing, because the movies as a whole were not exactly well received. Is probably the best way to word that. And I don't think that this would have been enough to make everybody change their mind and suddenly love the movies.
No. I definitely agree. That would not have happened. Moving on to Probably the biggest part of this news segment, just because there's so much that happened in this category. Moving on to video games. Now,
Ooh.
one of the big news is that we got probably within the last day or two is that Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, has gone gold. And if you don't know what gone gold means, that means that they are currently printing the game. So they are getting them on discs and packaged and ready to go. So this game will not be delayed, ladies and gentlemen. It will come out on time. So we will actually have on this channel starting next week. So if you're watching this currently when it's coming out, next Thursday, we will be having some footage coming out of the most recent Lego Star Wars game. That's kind of going to prep us moving forward to be ready for this new game coming out on April 5th. And you will see coverage on this channel of that game. So make sure to have your notifications on when those drop. We will have the unboxing of the game. That'll be super quick, probably because we want to get the disc in the console so we can play it. And then footage of the game will be coming out very shortly afterwards, because we're probably going to nonstop play that game.
Yep.
Out there.
No doubt.
Some other video game news is there's a video game called Star Wars: The Old Republic. Now, it is not one that Sarah and I have played at all. It is a computer, massive multiplayer online RPG. And although I have it installed on my computer, I still haven't gotten around to it, but they released an expansion. And at the very least, Sarah and I watched the little clip that they released of like a teaser for the expansion, and it looked pretty sweet. It's probably one of the coolest Star Wars stuff we've seen in a while. I say that with a little bit of caution, just because I know we've had Book of Boba and whatnot come out, but I thought that cinematic scene was awesome. It had kind of like a proper lightsaber battle in it. I don't really know much about the characters that were in that trailer, but they're cool enough to make me, want to know a little bit more about them. But there was a Sith character in there that was pretty cool. I'm more familiar with Knights of the Old Republic, not the Old Republic. And so,
see, I thought that's what you were talking about.
no, so Knights of the Old Republic was a game that first came out, and then when they wanted to make a multiplayer online RPG game about that universe, the Old Republic came out. So the game mechanics are very similar to the original game, but it's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it's kind of like World of Warcraft or any of those online games. We don't play them. That's why we don't know them. That's why I can't tell you all the different names. But that expansion came out. It was actually released. I thought it was a preview for what's to come, but it was actually released. So if you're into the Old Republic, check that out.
Do you know what's in the expansion? Like, is it new maps, new equipment, new players?
I think it's just new story. It's called Legacy of the Sith. So it has to do with the dark side, which is intriguing. Something cool about that game, because like I said, I have it downloaded on my computer, and the reason why I have it downloaded is because it's free to download. There's a good chunk of the game you can play for free. I've heard there's loopholes to get the expansions, but I haven't tried it, so I can't confirm it. I've been told if you pay for 1 month and then play a segment of each of the expansions and then cancel your membership, that it'll still keep the stuff in there for you. I don't know. I can't confirm it, but it's a rumor that I heard. So check it out if you want to try it. Some other exciting video game news. This is another one that was really up there for me, is that The Force Unleashed is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Force Unleashed was a huge game back when I was younger. I can't remember what year it came out, but I want to say it was around 2007, 2008, where you got to play as Darth Vader's secret apprentice. And carry out some stuff that Darth Vader wanted you to do. I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't played the game, but the game is awesome. It is coming to Nintendo Switch, which means that the version of the game is going to be ported from the Wii version of the game. I believe it still has motion controls, but some of the cool things about that, because if you weigh your options here, there was basically the Wii/PS2 version of the and PSP version of the game, or you could get the Xbox 360/PS3 version of the game. Oh, there's also a handheld. There's DS, but that was completely different as well. But the big thing here was that they played differently. They were also made differently. So even though like the story and the mechanics were the same, some of the positive things about the Wii version is that it has all the content in it as opposed to like the PS3 and Xbox 360. If you played on PS3 or Xbox 360, they actually withheld some levels from you and then released them as paid DLC. Whereas the Wii version has all of them in there. They're in order for the story progression, and you also get a dual mode, which is really, really cool. So like you and a friend can pick, I think they said there's 27 options for different Jedi that you can choose from and duke it out. So that's also something that the PS3 and Xbox 360 did not have. The also crappy thing about the PS3 and Xbox 360 version is if you bought the DLC, it didn't like place it in to the story where it fits. You'd have to play the game and then play the level separately and just kind of have to mentally
flashbacks.
Yeah, you have to like piece it together yourself. Whereas the Wii version of it, it's all in order. So although it's the Wii version, which was not probably received as well as the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions, there's a lot of optimism to have there. It'll be really, really cool.
At least it'll be a complete game.
Yeah, from beginning to end. I will say on the flip side, Xbox 360 and PS3 got the DLC where you could play Darkseid, Star Killer after the stuff that happens throughout the game. I guess we're still not going to spoil, but there's like an alternate ending, so to speak, for the original game on PS3 and Xbox 360. And there's other DLC that branched off with that. That stuff is not in the Wii version. So you weigh your pros and cons. Ultimately, you're going to have fun. So that's what's most important. Some more news from the Nintendo Switch is Star Wars Hunters, which is an arena beat 'em up, I would call it. It's like a 4 versus 4 in a small arena where there's players on each team, and you try to see, who can survive. They released 2 new characters and 1 new map. They actually revealed it. It is currently in soft launch. So if you don't know what soft launch means, they released this game in territories where they predict only a certain amount of people are going to play it. That way they can work out bugs and issues before they release it to somewhere like the United States, where a ton of people are going to get on the servers. So they're kind of like testing it out, so to speak. Are you going to play Hunters?
Are you going to buy Hunters?
It's free to play.
Oh, it's free. I missed that. Then yes, I will definitely give it a try.
I didn't mention that it was free, but it is free to play. So you and I, for what it's worth, we could probably get our Fortnite squad to try it out. Simply because it's free to play and it's 4 players on a team. I think we could work that out. It is only on Nintendo Switch and handheld, so or not, I shouldn't say handheld, mobile. So you can play on your phone or you can play on the Nintendo Switch. I'm telling you right now, you'll probably have a better experience on the Nintendo Switch. Just putting it out there.
Much bigger screen.
Yeah, we will probably not have gameplay of that game on the channel simply because I know doing stuff with Nintendo properties is kind of murky waters for YouTubers, and I don't want to get into that. So maybe if I have more information on how that stuff works in the future, we can roll that out. Is there anything cool that you heard about Star Wars this past couple weeks?
I'm gonna rewind us a second. When did you say Hunters was coming out?
This year, there is no concrete release date for the United States yet.
Come on. I
Yeah,
want to know.
we're supposed to get Hunters, Lego Star Wars, and potentially a game from EA. We will see. There's heavy rumor that the sequel to Fallen Order will come out, but I'll believe it when I see it. I feel like EA has gotten somewhat of an attitude after they lost the exclusive license. So although they want to make money, something tells me that they're kind of wishy-washy.
Yeah, I'm curious how that's going to play out. You know, either we're going to get a lot of games from other companies or we're going to get a lot of games from EA because they want theirs to outsell everybody else's now that they don't have the exclusiveness anymore, or is everybody just kind of chilling with it? I don't know. There were a lot of games that were somewhat recently announced, maybe not within the last 2 weeks, but I'm curious and excited to play more Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm excited because even when EA had the exclusive rights, there was like memes that were popping up saying like what EA did in this amount of years, and then what happened when there were no exclusive rights, and these many games that we got throughout the same amount of time, and it was like 5 or 6 times the amount of games way back when. I think companies, because right now Lucasfilm Games is what is controlling and managing all the Star Wars games right now. They're the ones that people report to and make sure everything runs smoothly. So my guess is that they are scheduling things appropriately so that game releases don't cross each other and mess with sales. They got a decent amount of time in between. But on the flip side, I think we could get at least 2 or 3 Star Wars games a year and not maybe 1 per year. So I think we got some good stuff moving forward. There's some of the rumored ones that actually, some that we know. There's one coming out from the High Republic, which was announced not too long ago. Supposed to be a cinematic experience, but I've also heard rumor that it's not going to be fully cinematic experience. So I don't know what to think about that release quite yet.
Can you define the difference?
Cinematic experience is like Telltale or Detroit Become Human. That's actually the company that's making the game. Where you're making
the choose your own adventure. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Where you have a little more flexibility on what's happening in the game.
I gotcha.
That's cinematic experience gameplay. But there's also been rumor that other stuff will be happening. So not too sure about that game yet. I think it's in pretty early development, so we will have to wait and see about that. My guess is that we may get some solid information at Star Wars Celebration, which we will be covering on this channel. I think that's either the end of May or the end of June, somewhere in there. But yeah, we got that game coming out. The game that I'm probably most excited for that's been announced is the Knights of the Old Republic remake that is coming out. I believe that's coming out next year. Heavy rumor that it's coming out next year. PlayStation exclusive, which is going to be even crazier because we know Sony can put out some awesome exclusives. Trying to think if there's any else that's been confirmed, because there's been a couple where EA said, oh, we have a first-person shooter, we have a strategy game, and then we have Fallen Order's sequel, but really no specifics. So yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting on video game news.
Gotcha. Very cool. Yeah, I haven't really heard any news for Star Wars that you and I haven't already talked about. Minus two things, which is two things that you already brought up, but I have heard about them from other sources. So maybe it provides some more credibility, and that would be Emperor Palpatine being in the new Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and oh, I'm blanking on his name, the music producer.
Oh, John Williams.
Yes, yes, yep. That he was going to be making some music for the new show. I didn't know it was just one song or if it's more than one song. I didn't read too far into it. But that he was going to be making something for it. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, my guess is that he's probably going to reprise or quote unquote remake the Obi-Wan Kenobi theme or something to fit the show a little bit better. That's my guess. But yeah, that's definitely exciting because he's a music legend. And you know how the Emperor says, I am the Senate. John Williams says, I am the music, pretty much, for Star Wars. So although the other guys have been doing great, we all know that the GOAT is John Williams. So I'm excited to hear what he has ready for that show. And we'll be able to find out very, very soon. It's 3 months from today recording. So, and dropping of the video, of course. So it can't come soon enough. That's for sure. All right. But that's about all we got today for Star Wars news. Make sure to turn your notifications. That way you can tune in 2 weeks from now. Because like we said, we're doing these every other week on Fridays. If we can't get to it on Friday, it'll definitely release on the weekend. So look forward to that. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Drop us a like if you like this video. And drop us a comment letting us know any Star Wars news that you heard. Or if you want to get in on the conversation of what we talked about, drop it in the comments below. And then as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.